Who were the Hussars or the Winged Hussars? The Hussars were the elite cavalrymen, a legendary warrior force which was developed in Poland. It is also like closely associated with the crusade wars that happened during the Middle Ages in Europe. The Hussars were they were a kind of elite shock troops. The origin of Hussars began in Poland, and the word comes from a Serbian word, Gusars, Gusar, which means wanderers. Because the early Hussars were a light cavalry unit. They were essentially teamed up or drawn from a group of Serbian mercenaries, the Serbian mercenaries who were actually outlawed and who were exiled. They took shelter in Poland, and honoring and recognizing the battle tactics and skills, the Polish rulers developed them into a light horsemen or the light cavalry units. Later on, the Hussars or the winged Hussars, they were developed into heavy cavalry units, and later on it was kind of a noble force because only the children of the Polish nobility, rulers, kings, they were trained right from the childhood into various tactics of warfare, and they developed and came up to be the elitist of the elite warriors. It is said that Hussars have never lost a war in 500 years. Such was the menacing prowess of this elite force. The horses that Hussars used, they were specially bred horses, drawn mainly from the Tatar breed of horses and developed over the years. The warriors picked right at the childhood and developed over the years. First 15 to 20 years of their life they spent learning the skills of warfare. The armor battle load of any Hussars would typically range up to like say 200 pounds that they would carry. The horses, they were of special breed, trained and brought over years, had special speed and capability to run faster or charge faster than other breed of horses, carrying a load of around 200 pounds, over and above the load of the rider, the Hussar warrior. Essentially, later on, the Hussars were kind of a shock troops. They would charge from anywhere out of nowhere and devastate the enemy before, and such was their speed and their lightning speed that the enemy had very little chance to recover or fight back. And by the time they would regroup themselves, the Hussars would have vanished. So it gave an air of legend, secrecy, and mystery. Often the Hussars are associated with the religious identity because during the Crusade Wars, especially against the Ottoman Empire, the Hussars were used extensively and with deadly result. Every time they charged at the enemy lines, the battle was won in the favor of the Hussars and the Crusade forces. Even their battle cry was Mother Mary and Jesus. So it was a kind of religious fervor which they brought into the war. The Hussars were most effective against the Ottomans. Famous battle was the 1683 Battle of Vienna, when King Sobieski led a charge of 20,000 cavalrymen, which was spearheaded by 3,000 winged Hussars. The wings of the Hussars were collected from raptors, from ostrich, and they were tied to the armor of the Hussar warriors, which gave them a terrifying look when they charged. And also, since it had the wings spanned sideways, so it also gave some kind of protection and some uneasiness to anyone who would try to attack from the side flanks. But later on, as the military tactics evolved, the Hussars slowly lost their importance and significance. By the end of the 17th or 18th century, the Hussar units were just like a kind of a symbolic military unit with very little battle, real-time war significance. And whatever remained, that was completely devastated during Second World War by Hitler's tank regiments when the Poland was occupied by invading German forces in September 1939, which was also kind of a beginning of the Second World War. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel for such kind of stories which are hidden in history. Meet you again with some new fascinating stories from history or from sports.